Emma and Earl were discharged a week later. Earl had had surgery to remove the bullet lodged just under his previous injury. Emma had sustained bruises all over her body, but they both came out the other side healthy and mending. Welcome back, family. I truly appreciate your loyalty, and I truly love bringing these stories to you. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to comment what you like best. Now let's get back to the story. True to his word, Sir Winthrop had upgraded them to a suite at the hotel. They had a large sitting area and dining table if they chose to eat in. The first night they stayed in, Earl still felt discomfort from the surgery, and Emma was still a little sore. Their second day, Emma climbed out of bed slowly, willing her body to cooperate. She showered and studied her face in the bathroom mirror. There was a fading bruise around her throat where Sophia tried to choke her. She'd have to wear her hair down to hide it. Earl was sitting up in bed reviewing footage of home. He watched her reaction to the news report of the attack at Parliament. He watched her cry. Then he got angry. How dare Matt make a pass at his wife? He made a note to have a talk with the man, but the slap she laid on him made him proud. There was the footage of Emma beating the crap out of the punching bag in their basement gym. He realized that she'd been using it along with the self-defense classes she'd signed up for. When Emma came out, he logged off and smiled up at her. "Feeling better?" he asked. "Yes, I feel less sore. Did you want to go for a soak?" she asked as she finished drying off. She dropped the towel to lotion her body. "I can get it started for you. I know you can't shower just yet." "I'd like that if you don't mind," he answered. He watched her smooth on the lotion. Anger rose in him at the fading bruises. He struggled with feeling proud and angry. She'd gotten hurt because Sophia had insisted they fight for her life. "Someone thought to stock bath beads. I'll probably use it later. Would you like some in your bath?" "No, thanks." Earl got up gently. His right side felt stiff and the bandages were dry, but otherwise he was feeling good. Earl came out 20 minutes later. Emma knew right away that he was in pain. She rushed to him and helped him get dressed. Then she handed him his pain medication. "I think you overdid it. You could have asked for help." "It's all right, love. The more I move, the easier it becomes. We have an appointment with Sir Winthrop at headquarters. We can have an early lunch downstairs first." "Okay." She gathered her phone and purse and followed him out. Earl sat across from her in the hotel's restaurant to eat. Emma thought that he'd want something more British, but he ordered a more American fare, like her. Then he led her out into the London street. He chose to drive, and Emma realized that the 20-minute drive could have been a 10-minute walk instead. The traffic was just like back home. Headquarters was 5 stories tall and looked like it hadn't been renovated since the 1980s. They took an elevator to the 3rd floor where Earl led her through halls he must have navigated hundreds of times. A secretary told them that Sir Winthrop would be with them shortly. She offered them a seat in the waiting area. Sir Winthrop's office wasn't what Emma was expecting either. It was tasteful and just a little on the stuffy side. The walls were decorated with commendation plaques and a portrait of the Queen. The older gentleman seemed genuinely happy to see them. He clasped hands with them and asked how they were feeling. He was going out of his way to make them feel comfortable. "Sir Winthrop, I didn't get a chance to thank you for all you've done for us. I really appreciate your efforts on our behalf," Emma told him sincerely. "My dear, it was my pleasure. It wouldn't do at all for my best agent to be without comfort. Your husband has been a valuable asset to the Bureau. We're going to miss him here," he answered. He turned to Earl with an appeal in his eyes. "Are you sure there isn't anything I can do to change your mind, Solano?" "No, sir, I don't think so. As per our conversation months ago, we agreed that this was my last assignment. I am proud to have been part of the Bureau, and the experience is something I'll carry with me for a long time," Earl replied. "Well then, I'll just start the paperwork and schedule your debriefing. I've written an addendum to accompany your report concerning your wife's part in Agent Thorne's capture," Sir Winthrop continued. He slid an envelope toward Emma with a smile. "Your involvement in this matter is very appreciated and brilliant, I might add." Emma took the envelope, not quite understanding what he implied. She opened it to find a letter commending her for her bravery and her actions in Agent Thorne's capture. There was a reproduction of the royal seal at the bottom and a check. Emma looked at the man. "I can't accept this. It's not necessary. I merely defended myself." "My dear Mrs. Solano, it is very necessary. The Crown will not let your actions go unnoticed." Emma looked at Earl, who nodded. "You deserve it, love. I am very proud of you." Emma smiled graciously at them and placed the envelope in her bag. "Thank you, sir," she said. Sir Winthrop nodded once and then asked her to step outside. Earl squeezed her hand as she passed him. Emma was pleasantly surprised that after a few minutes, two gentlemen she recognized entered the reception area. They saw her too and came to join her. "Mrs. Solano, it is good to see you again," Nigel exclaimed. "Nigel, Stewart, it's nice to see you too. How have you been?" They sat with her and told her that her exploits was talk of the office. They told her that they were impressed. They chatted with her a bit longer and then hurried to their business. 15 minutes later, Earl emerged out of Sir Winthrop's office. He didn't look happy. He clasped her hand and led her out of the building. He told her that they had the whole day to do whatever they wanted. She noted that he was still moving stiffly and said that she wanted to go back to the hotel. Once they were inside the suite, Emma turned on him. "Okay, detective, what's the matter? Did Sir Winthrop change his mind?" "No, he didn't change his mind." "What did he say then?" "What aren't you telling me?" she asked. She went to sit on the small sofa across the room. "I need you to tell me what's going on. We promised that we would always communicate, so spill it. I think I've proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that I can handle it." "Okay, Sir Winthrop scheduled my debriefing, but he scheduled one for you as well. I tried to dissuade him, but he wouldn't budge. There isn't any way around it. It will take a few weeks, but yours may take a day or two, after which you can go home." "What do you mean mine? What mine are you talking about? Did you know yours was going to take that long?" Emma asked. Her heart pounded in her chest. "I've always known mine would take that long. I had hoped that it would only be a few days in light of the fact that I'd been away. But because of my history, I must go through the whole thing," Earl said. "You are neglecting to explain my debriefing, detective. Isn't that what you've just said?" "I've argued over and over with Sir Winthrop about it, but he is insisting. You will have to go through a round of questioning to ascertain what you know and how much you know. I told him how smart you are and how you guessed that I was an agent. He thought you were clever too." Emma sat beside him and thought she might explode. Of all the creative writing classes there were, why did he have to take her class? Why did he have to cross her path? Since she'd set eyes on him, it has been one scrape, blast, or adventure after another. And now she was going to be questioned about an organization she didn't know existed 3 weeks ago. "Fine. When will they want to see me? Where do I have to go?" she asked instead. "We have time," Earl assured her. "What's going to happen to Sophia and company?" she asked, changing the subject. She needed time to mull things over in her mind. Earl shrugged. "She is going to serve time. Her partners were apprehended the minute they had gotten within city limits. Apart from her operation at Parliament, she is also guilty of murdering Sir Winthrop's nephew. Ian was a close friend of mine," Earl said quietly. "How awful for him and you." Sophia Thorne was a very bad bitch indeed, Emma thought. She understood now why Earl took the assignment. He was so loyal. Earl took her hand. "I'm sorry you had to go through that ugly business with Sophia. I wish things had gone differently." "Detective, what happened with her wasn't your fault. You were on an assignment. I was a surprise you had to deal with. You did what you had to do. I may hurt right now, but later I will be feeling real cocky about what I'd done. So, Sir Solano, don't you apologize for anything?" Emma had a big smile on her face. Earl shook his head. "I was wondering when you'd bring that up. There is one thing I want to make clear and for you to understand. What Sophia said back there wasn't true. I wasn't happy for a long time. In the beginning I was young and felt that it was cool when I started with the Bureau. But it was a lonely life most of the time. I did it for 8 years and then one day I just didn't want to do it anymore. Sir Winthrop understood and helped me. He understands now too. There's no turning back for me and I have no regrets. I love you and I want to spend the rest of my life making you happy. You have given me back purpose and a son I love second only to you." "Well, damn, I don't know what to say to that. I wanted to be angry with you, but now all I feel is grateful. I love you too." Emma got up and sat gingerly in his lap, conscious of his injuries. Their kiss was full of apologies, and for the first time since coming to England, Emma felt free to feel. Earl ended the kiss and reached inside his jacket pocket to pull out his phone. He called his parents. They spoke with him, assuring them that he and Emma were fine. Then they listened to their son babble. She called Sam, and after hanging up, she cried. Earl held her, understanding that it was exactly what she needed. Emma hiccuped her last and felt an altogether different emotion. She kissed him and led him to the bed. They didn't rush. They had all the time in the world. Later, lying tucked into his side, Emma sighed. Detective, what should I expect? Earl didn't even pretend he didn't know what she implied. I expect that they'll be cordial and respectful. The line of questioning will be deliberate. And if they suspect that you know more than you should about anything pertaining to the workings of the Bureau, they will keep at it until they know what you know. But I suspect that they will also take it easy on you. You only know about Sophia, and once her trial comes up, it will be public. Really, darling, you don't know much. Then why question me at all? I couldn't possibly give anything away that would put other agents in danger, and I only know you. It's just the way these things are done, love. I promise you that for you, it will be painless and quick. Hey family, are you on pins and needles right now? Comment what you think below. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Are you rested? She asked. Why? He asked with a smile. Because I don't want to think. I want to feel, and you are very good at making me feel. Brilliant. I want to feel too. Earl kissed her and led her through a repertoire of feelings guaranteed to make mush of the mind. Later, while Earl slept, Emma lay awake thinking. She worried about the questioning she would have to go through. She knew that it would be fine. In her mind, she knew it. But she felt that when they called her in, she would lose her cool and come off as a bumbling idiot. She didn't want to put Earl to shame where she would become the company joke. Hey, remember that broad we questioned a few weeks ago? Duh! Her skin tingled, and the muscles in her belly tightened. Deep in her dream, Emma moaned. She reached out to touch her lover when hands clasped her hand tightly. Wake up, love. I refuse to make love to your sleeping body, Earl said. He was watching her as she slept. He saw the bruise on her throat, fading now, but still visible. A surge of protectiveness and love filled him. He reached out to touch her and was pleasantly pleased that she responded to his touch. So, he continued. Detective, she said huskily, I'm very awake. I must say that I am very much awake. Come here. Much later, Emma lay beside her husband. Wow, detective, I think every woman should wake up like this, thank you. Not just women, love. Men too, after all. I got just as much out of it as you. Emma got up on her elbow. You know, if more men and women did this in the morning, we'd have world peace. Just think about it. After sex in the morning, what man wants to go out and start a war? Oh, and crime would be at an all-time low too. Because who would want to burgle a jewelry store after sex in the morning? Let's see. There would be a world full of happy, satisfied people if before they got out of bed, they had sex, Emma exclaimed happily. I'm detecting a theme here. Did you by any chance have sex this morning? Earl asked teasingly. Oh, wow, you are good. I think I'll have a talk with the chief when I get home. You should be promoted to general or something. Earl laughed. He loved this playful side of her. He hadn't seen it in a long while. It was really good to see her happy. He decided that there was nothing more noble than making this woman happy. Hey, you aren't going back to sleep, are you? We have the whole day ahead of us to do whatever we want. I don't know when Sir Winthrop will call us in, but I'd like to spend as much time with you as I can, Earl said. Emma nodded and threw her legs over the side of the bed. I guess we can see some of the sights. She got up and went into the bathroom. In the shower, she cried. She didn't even know why she was crying. When his arms snaked around her, Emma cried harder. He was so attuned to her that it didn't even surprise her anymore. She turned to him. He had taken the bandages off. The stitches were closed. They were jagged and angry lines on his shoulder and upper torso. Aren't you supposed to keep this dry? She asked tearfully. The doctor said I can take the bandage off and that I should let it get some air. Okay, but I don't think you should drown it either. Let's get out of here, Emma advised him. Let's get breakfast first and then see the sights, Earl said. Earl looked relaxed as they walked, and she thought that if all it took for her husband to relax was a walk around the streets of London, then they would walk. He held her hand as he showed her points of interest, like Big Ben, the Tower of London, and Parliament along the River Thames. Suddenly, he tugged her hand and led her into a jewelry store. Emma frowned. She didn't want jewelry, but she followed him in. She stood back while he approached the counter. Excuse me, I'd brought some jewelry for cleaning. I was told they'd be ready today. He placed a receipt on the counter. The attendant nodded and slipped to the back of the store and returned with a small box. He handed it to Earl and Earl took it from him and pocketed it. Then he clasped Emma's hand again. They were walking toward the hotel when he heard someone call his name. Earl looked across the street. A young man waved frantically, then crossed the street to them. I don't believe it. Earl Solano. Man, how are you? Where have you been? Joshua Winters? I'm fine, how are you? What are you doing here? I heard you moved to the States. I did, I'm just here on business, Earl answered. Joshua turned, his eyes devouring Emma. And who is this ravishing creature? He asked. Joshua Winters, meet my wife Emma. Darling, this is Josh. He and I went to university together, Earl relayed. My God, man, what have you been up to? I'm the head curator at the museum here in town. Splendid. I say, what are you doing later? I'm meeting the gang at the club there. Why don't you join us? It'll be like old times, Josh said, pointing to the club across the street. Earl looked at Emma. Would you like to meet some old friends of mine? He asked her. Emma smiled and nodded. Sure, she agreed. What time? Asked Earl. I can't promise, but we'll try, he told his old friend. Smashing. It was a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Emma. Earl, see you later. 7:30. They watched Josh go back across the street and they continued on to their hotel. Emma quickly hurried to the closet. She didn't know if she had anything to wear to meet her husband's friends. Earl watched her and then he went into the bathroom and closed the door. He was in there for at least 15 minutes. When he came out, Emma was examining a pair of slacks. Are you okay? She asked. Yeah, I was just checking on Joshua. He answered easily. When we were in university, he was into some unsavory things. It seems that he has made a change and is doing very well. He's been with the museum for 2 years now and things look good. For him. Emma went to stand in front of him. Detective, do you do this kind of thing often? What thing? He asked. This checking up on people thing. Did you do a check on me to see if it was all right to take my class? It seems that trust is an issue with you. Professor, you don't know Josh. I just didn't want us going into anything blind. We've been through so much recently. I just want to have a nice evening with friends. Josh said that the old gang was gathering and it would be like old times. How many people are we talking about? There were 5 of us. Josh, Ben, Rochelle, and Tamara. We were inseparable and did almost everything together. So you never dated any of the girls? Emma asked, trying to look innocent. Rochelle and I went out a couple of times, but it felt weird, so we left it alone. So there's not going to be a repeat of Sophia? Earl shook his head so hard his locks fell forward. Absolutely not. Then he took her hand and slid her rings onto her finger. These rings have a very bad habit of wandering off. I thought if I got them cleaned, they'd stay put. Then he kissed her gently. Darling, I know you feel that if I have these rings with me when I go away from you, that somehow we're together, but I promise you that you'll never have to take them off again. Emma cleared her throat. You silly man. These rings are your lucky charms. You should never leave home without them. She hugged him close and hoped he was right. The rest of the afternoon they rested. Earl slept while Emma fussed with her hair. She tried different ways of wearing it, but found anything but down would reveal the bruise on the side of her neck. They dressed simply, Earl in dark pants and white shirt, and Emma with dark slacks and blue blouse. When they walked out of the hotel, they didn't see the 2 men who followed them out. The pub was close, so they walked. Joshua, Ben, and the women were seated at a large booth, and Josh waved them over. The club was noisy and people were having fun. You made it, Josh gushed. Earl, you remember Ben, Rochelle, and Tamara, don't you? Yes, it's good to see you again. This is Emma, my wife, Earl said easily. He handed Emma into the seat beside Rochelle and sat beside Ben. Married, oh, that's great. We had always thought he'd marry before us, Rochelle said. She tapped Emma on the forearm. He was too serious to stay single. So what do you do, Emma? Asked Josh. I'm a professor at Queens College in New York. What do you guys do? Emma asked in return. Josh is a curator at the museum. I teach music at the conservatory. Tamara here is a veterinarian, and Rochelle works as a clerk in Parliament, Ben recited, bopping his head in time to the music. Earl stood up and held out his hand to Emma. She took it and followed him to the dance floor. Your friends seem nice. They swayed for a while until Josh tapped Earl on the shoulder. Earl pointed a finger at him and went to join the others. Josh took Emma into his arms and held her a little too tightly. I think I might put in for a transfer if all the women in America look like you do. Earl is a lucky man, and if he isn't making you happy, I'd be delighted to take his place. Emma pushed at him. America is full of women who do look like me. However, Earl is all I'll ever want, Emma told him. Earl was back with a tense expression on his face. Josh, I could tell that from across the room that you were hitting on my wife. Emma could tell that he wasn't pleased. Josh flashed him a toothy grin. You can't blame a bloke for trying. What do you expect when you bring a beautiful woman to a starving man? Earl laughed at him. I expect you to be civil and respect that she is my wife and very much mine, he said, wrapping his arms around Emma. Emma looked from one man to the other and then walked away from them, shaking her head. At the table, Rochelle and Tamara laughed. I see they're at it again. You'd think after all this time they'd grow up. But no, they have to play whose is bigger. Did they do this often? Emma asked. Yeah, it's a routine they have. If Josh brought a girl out with us, Earl would make a play for her, and he'd do the same if Earl brought a girl. This time, I think Josh is being rude. They won't come to blows, will they? Emma asked, thinking of Earl's injuries. Tamara laughed elegantly. No, they'll pretend to argue and then dance with each other. The group ordered food and settled down to catching up. Emma listened and tried to relax, but the two men that followed them from the hotel were still sitting at the bar. By the time Earl decided to call it a night, Emma was relieved. They left with promises of keeping in touch. A block from the hotel, Emma spotted their companions and told Earl that she was tired of them following them. Earl looked around and located them. He waved them over, but they pretended not to see him. Earl whistled then, one high note and two low notes. The men crossed the street, clearly embarrassed at being spotted. Gentlemen, my wife is feeling uncomfortable with you two trailing behind us. She would like to know if you mean to take her in tonight, Earl said. We apologize, Mrs. Solano. We have orders to bring you in tonight. You've got an hour to say your goodbyes. We'll just knock on the door. Is that okay, Mrs. Solano? I guess so, Emma said. They hurried to the suite and Emma packed. She didn't know how long they'd keep her or if she even needed to bring anything. She was nervous and worried. Come sit by me, love. We can wait together, Earl said. They sat and talked about nothing in particular. When they heard the knock, Emma jumped up and grabbed the bag by the door. Earl kissed her at the door and went no further. Emma and her new friends got into the waiting car. When they were well away, she was blindfolded. She tried not to panic even though they were gentle and apologized for doing their job. She thought it was funny that they should feel the need to keep the location secret. She didn't even know the city. They drove for what seemed like hours before they came to a stop. They helped her into the building and then took off the blindfold. Emma looked around and realized with a smile that she was right. They were in a house and all the furniture was covered with white sheets. The hardwood floors was dusty. I suppose this is what a safe house looks like. If you knew you were taking me in tonight, couldn't someone have come out earlier to air it out at least? She asked and then sneezed. She didn't care if she sounded bitchy. It was late and she was tired. An oversight, I'm sure. Your room is this way, Mrs. Solano, one companion said, leading the way up the stairs. Emma entered the room she'd been assigned. It was clean and smelled fresh. Everything looked new, right down to the lamps on the bedside tables. She turned to her escort and smiled. I suppose I should expect to be tortured in the morning, so I'll say goodnight, she said and went to stand by the door. The agent walked out and locked the door on the outside. Emma heard the lock and sighed. She quickly undressed and then explored the room. The windows had bars on them and faced a brick wall. She lay down positive that she wouldn't get any sleep. It was almost 2 in the morning, and she was positive she'd watch the sun rise. The loud knock on the door awakened her out of a sound sleep. So she had slept. She called out that she was awake. A voice told her that breakfast would be served in an hour. Then she heard the lock click open. She dressed quickly and followed her nose to the kitchen. At the small table in the corner, she found plates of eggs, sausages, and toast. A pot of coffee that smelled heavenly lulled her into a false sense of security. I take it you like the coffee, Sir Winthrop asked, startling Emma. Oh, yes, it's perfect. She was stunned. Sir Winthrop was going to be her torturer. Uh, going to debrief her? Relax, Mrs. Solano. I didn't tell your husband that I would be speaking with you personally. I thought in light of the special circumstances that it would be appropriate. Please enjoy your breakfast. I shall be waiting for you in the living room, he said and left her to eat alone. Emma swallowed the last of her second cup of coffee, took in a deep breath, and made her way to the living room. She found him sitting in the single chair, and she took the love seat. Mrs. Solano, did you enjoy your breakfast? Was everything to your liking? He asked. Oh yes, thank you. I hate that you have to go to all this trouble. My dear, it is no trouble at all, I assure you. Now if we can start, I'd say you'll be back at the hotel no later than dinner time. So shall we begin? Sir Winthrop insisted that they break for lunch. Emma wasn't hungry, but she ate some fruit and drank some juice. Sir Winthrop was so nice and kind that it was hard to refuse him anything. She understood why her husband couldn't refuse him either. After lunch, they went back to work. He did most of the talking and asked the most outrageous questions. He knew so much about Earl and told the most interesting stories of his work and exploits. She listened with fascination, but she also knew what the old man was doing. He got her to relax with the story and quickly asked her an unrelated question. However, it didn't work because Emma really didn't know anything. Soon it was her turn to fascinate him when she told him what happened in Chelmsford. He chuckled when she told him that Sophia spoke German with her companions, not realizing that Emma was practically fluent. Then she told him that the agents he sent to bring her in were so easy to spot. She told him that no one goes to a pub or club dressed as formal as they were. Finally, as if he had summoned them telepathically, her companions appeared to take her back to the hotel. She thanked Sir Winthrop for a very enlightening day and followed her escorts to the car. Did you feel nervous for Emma? Did you think she was going to be tortured? Comment what you thought her debriefing session was going to be like. Emma let herself into the suite, ready to surprise Earl. He wasn't in the suite. On the dresser, taped to the mirror, was an envelope. With her heart sinking to her stomach, Emma crossed over and yanked it off. She knew what it said even before she read it. Earl was pulled away for his own debriefing. How could they do this to her? To them? They didn't get a chance to say a proper goodbye. The note wasn't even from Earl. It was typewritten. Earl signed at the bottom. Emma was so angry, she balled it up and threw it across the room. Then an idea struck her. She knew Earl wouldn't just leave. He would leave her something, she was sure of it. All she had to do was find it. It was then she noticed the bottle of wine chilling in the ice bucket. Earl was thoughtful. He knew she'd be on edge, but she didn't want to drink. She lifted the bottle and looked inside the bucket, and there it was. The note was in a plastic sandwich bag. She had to calm down before she could read it. Now a glass of wine sounded good, so she uncorked the bottle and poured a glass. Earl's note said that he knew they would be separated, that he hoped she fared well, and was he right in assuming that Sir Winthrop himself questioned her? She smiled at that. If those fellows at the Bureau thought they'd keep things from Earl, they didn't really know him at all. He suggested that she go home because he truly didn't know when he'd be done. He said that Sir Winthrop would make her flight arrangements. Emma awoke the following morning with the worst hangover she'd ever had. She had done the most idiotic thing. She had sat up in bed the night before and drank half the bottle of wine, and now the bright sunlight coming through the curtains was killing her. Shielding her eyes, she got up and pulled the curtains closed. When she had the room as dark as she could get it, Emma ran to the bathroom to be sick. She felt better after, but her head still hurt. Around 1 in the afternoon, the pounding on the door threatened to knock it down. She called out that she was coming and went to the door. It was room service. She held the door open for the server to roll the table in. "Are you sure you have the right room? I didn't order anything," she said. "This was ordered yesterday, ma'am. Compliments of your husband." The server handed her an envelope and left. Emma lifted the lid off of one dish and shook her head. Earl knew her too well. It was soup and a sandwich, and a big steaming pot of coffee. She opened the envelope to read the note. It said, "Hello, love. I thought you might need this. You are either sad and hungover or mad and hungover. In either case, you should eat and drink all the coffee you want. I love you. Earl." She ate almost all of the food and found a small silver case with aspirin in it. She threw those to the back of her throat with coffee and rolled the table out the door. Then she called home. She assured her family that she would be home soon. Sir Winthrop called to let her know that her flight was scheduled for the following morning. Wow, she thought, these people didn't waste any time. To her surprise and comfort, Emma found she was traveling with the Sky Marshal. This time around, he was talkative. Hello, I didn't think I'd ever see you again. Is this what you do every day? Emma asked him. I do this a few times a week and I'm usually bored out of my mind. I was just thinking about you. So how did you make out? He asked. I did okay. My husband was hurt, but he's doing a lot better. He works for the British government, Emma replied. So you live in England then? No, but my husband is a British national. It's good that he's doing better. Are you going back to England soon? Emma shook her head. No, not for a long time. What about you? Where do you live? Me? I am an American born and bred. I do this because I like to travel, he answered easily. They chatted until dinner was served and then he fell asleep. Emma opened her book and read until she too fell asleep. This time around, Emma had to go through customs, and once she was finally through, she found Kevin waiting for her, leaning against a luggage dolly. Emma was glad to see him. She gave him a big hug and handed him her bag. The drive back was quick because it was 4 in the morning. Kevin made sure she was inside the house before he drove off. She looked around her house and sighed. She'd been away for 3.5 weeks. Her house almost felt foreign to her. The next few days were strange. Her family had been to see her, and she had her children, but she couldn't seem to adjust. A week later, she was expecting the family to come check on her, like they'd done in the past, but none did. She got calls, but no visits. Emma had a system going. She got up early and crammed as many activities into the day as she could and went to bed too tired to feel lonely or sad. She kept it up for a month. The day after Sam's birthday in July, her father announced that he was taking the family to Disney World. So she had said yes, and Sam was thrilled. The day after she left, Emma cleaned the house. She was in a funk and needed to get out of it, but didn't know how. She packed up her son and took him to her in-laws. She stayed for a few minutes and assured them that she was fine. When she returned home, she packed a bag and headed to her friend Lindora's house. She thought about all Sir Winthrop told her about her husband. The incident with the poisoned dart had been when he had apprehended a South African renegade arms dealer. One of his partners, and he fought while another shot him with that dart. He tried to get away, but Earl secured his quarry and gave chase. Then there was the assignment that got him knighted. The Bureau had gotten intel on an underground group that were inciting a rebellion against the royals. They wanted England to become a democracy like the other nations. Earl had gone in and infiltrated the group. It turned out that an influential member of Parliament was heading the group. Earl had them rounded up before it got out of hand. There were several other stories that Emma committed to memory, and in all of them, Earl was a hero. Then there was his last assignment. Emma saw firsthand how fearless he was and how he had gotten the job done, even with a bullet lodged in his chest. Granted that being a cop had its moments, but it was nothing compared to the assignments the Bureau put him on. Emma felt that she was holding him back. Earl took a deep breath and sighed with relief. He was free, and all he could think about was going home. Home to his family, to Emma, to Noah and Sam. Home. He didn't want any interruptions with his homecoming, so he called ahead. He called his parents and told them that he would visit them soon. Former agent Earl Solano entered the airport and stoically endured check-in and the long, tedious process of getting his luggage through customs. Thanks to Sir Winthrop's long reach, all was taken care of, including the rental. He didn't call Emma yet. He wanted to do that when he was close. He hadn't had time to review any videos in his haste to pack and leave, but he would do so in the comfort of his home. He thought of all the safety measures he had installed in his home and fully planned on deactivating some of them. He'd be home from now on. The debriefing was grueling. He had gotten angry frequently, but he endured, and now it was over. He had respectfully declined Sir Winthrop's suggestion that he continue to remain inactive until needed. He wanted to be completely out. He had a life in America. His marriage, job, and the work he was doing with the kids in the affected program, all of it were precious to him. When he boarded the plane, he felt freer than he had ever felt before. He didn't care who he sat beside, and he went as far as to apologize to a man who bumped into him, when clearly the man was at fault. As a former agent, he didn't scan the plane for potential trouble. He was a regular passenger now. He quickly called a cab at JFK, helping the driver load his bags. Finally, at his house, he saw her car in the drive. She hadn't answered when he called. It wasn't that late, but perhaps she was resting. He quickly disengaged the alarm when he entered the house. The house was dark. Emma wasn't home. If her car was in the drive, she was close. So Earl unpacked, showered, and took care of a few things. Then he would take the walk to her friend Lindora's house. When he reviewed the videos, that's when he realized why the house was quiet. He watched her pack a bag and write a note. He found the note and read it. She was leaving him. How dare she choose for him? She was trying to be noble by allowing him to continue the work she thought he loved. Earl threw on some clothes and left the house. He drove even though it only took him 2 minutes. Kevin let him in and cautioned him that his wife had been crying. Lynn led him up to the guest bedroom. She shushed him at the door and knocked. "Hey, Em, there's someone here to see you. Can I send him up?" Lynn asked through the door. "Who is it?" Emma asked. "Oh, girl, you know exactly who it is. You two have some creepy radar, and I am not going to stand here and be the go-between. Open the door and talk with your husband." Emma opened the door a crack. "Tell him I can't speak with him. Tell him I'm sleeping." "Why can't you talk with him? You talk plenty to me. Besides, you know as well as I do that he won't leave." "Lynn, I didn't mean to bring trouble to your door, but I really can't talk with him right now," Emma said tearfully. "Why the hell not?" Lindor was losing patience. "Because I'm not strong enough." And she closed the door. Earl had had enough. He pushed Lindor out of the way and grabbed the doorknob. Kevin grabbed his wife's hand and they went downstairs. Earl knocked on the door and waited. Emma opened the door a crack again, and once she saw that it was Earl, she tried to shut it again. Her husband was quick and shoved his foot through the door. "Why aren't you strong enough to speak with me, Emma?" he asked gently. Emma couldn't speak. She stared at him. What could she say? "I'm waiting for an answer, Emma." Earl tried again. "I'm not ready to speak with you." "Didn't you read my letter?" asked Emma. "I did, but it doesn't answer why you feel you aren't strong enough to tell me to my face that you want to end us. I've never known you to back down from telling me what you think or feel." "I deserve a better explanation," Earl insisted. "I think I've explained it adequately enough in the letter. There's nothing more to say." She tried to close the door once more, but Earl pushed it all the way open. "Emma, please be reasonable. We can't adequately discuss our business here. I promise you that if you can convince me that we should end our marriage, I'll bring you back. Come back to the house with me." Emma eyed him up and down. She didn't trust him. He was too cool about this besides. She didn't want to discuss anything with him. She needed more time to shore up her defenses. "It's late, Earl. Why don't I come by in the morning and we can talk then?" They both knew that she was stalling, but Earl wasn't leaving without her. "I don't think so. I want to know now what my tomorrow's going to bring tonight. This is your doing, and you have to bring it to its conclusion," Earl told her. Emma tried not to look at him too much. It wasn't good to look at him. She nodded, not because she was giving in, but because she knew Earl was prepared to be a nuisance. She brushed past him and went down the stairs. She told the Brooks that she'd be back. Lindora opened her mouth to say something, but Kevin clamped his hand over it. The drive back was tense. Earl's expression was stone. She couldn't read it. She rehearsed in her mind what she would say to him. She'd make him see that the life she offered isn't what he needed, and then she would go back to her friend's house. Earl unlocked the door and stepped back to let her in. She moved stiffly, as if she were steeling herself for some sort of onslaught. It surprised him that she distrusted him. When did that happen, he wondered. She must know that he wouldn't harm a hair on her head. "All right, Earl, what about my letter didn't you understand?" Emma refused to sit and stood in the middle of the living room. Earl faced her. "You can't make a decision for me. We didn't discuss ending our marriage. As far as I know, we were in love and everything was fine. What happened between the time you left England and now? Can you tell me what the bloody hell happened between then and now?" Earl didn't raise his voice, but she felt the shout just the same. "I finally found out about the man I married. The real you. That trip to England was an eye-opener for me. From the things Sophia said and what Sir Winthrop told me, I learned that you'd been living a double life. The person you portrayed yourself to be is a lie. The real you is the one you left in England. You are the bureau and the bureau is you. I care for you, Earl, I really do. But I couldn't bear for you to wake up one day hating me. I'm not what you need in your life. I think it is better all the way around if we end this now before it gets any further. Of all the... Uh, Emma! Earl gasped. He reached out and held her arms. It wasn't tight, but firm. His eyes held so much hurt, she looked away. No, Earl, please. Please think about this very carefully. You've been substituting police work for the kind of work you used to do. That's why you take all those risks. It is also why you have to be the hero. You thrive on that stuff. Married life is too tame for you. You know I'm right. Earl released her arms and stepped back. You sound just like Sir Winthrop. He said almost the same thing. He even offered to keep me inactive until he needed me. Do you want to know what I told him? I told him that I wanted to be completely done with the Bureau. I told him that I'd found a life that completes me. I have a woman who gives me everything I need to feel alive, and a child I can watch grow up. The Bureau can't give me any of that. I chose what I wanted. It seems pointless now to come home to that life now, doesn't it? I don't know what to do to convince you. I love you, Emma, and I love Noah and Sam. You have become my world. Why would I want anything else? Emma stared at him, at his defeated stance. Could he really want what she offered? I believe you want those things, but I know that if Sir Winthrop called you, you'd drop everything and go. You're that loyal. I want to believe that I shouldn't be afraid that you'll wake up one day and hate me for denying you the life you truly wanted. I don't want to go through that, and I don't want to put my children through that either. You know, it's not a bad thing because that's what makes you so good at what you do. You give it your all. I thought I could live with that, but I can't. Emma, your concerns have merit, and I won't treat them lightly, but I need you to understand that you absolutely are what I want in my life right now. Once the Bureau fulfilled me, but I'm past that now. It is important work, but look at me. My body has been battered, and it doesn't feel thrilling anymore. I want the peace only you can give me. I want to watch my children grow up, and I don't understand why you want to deny me that. I know you're afraid, and I am afraid too, but more of losing you, us. Emma couldn't stop the tears spilling down her cheeks. She loved this man. She absolutely loved this man. Can we be afraid together? She asked. Yes. The walk back to the Brooks home was pleasant, and he told her how the thought of returning home to her was what kept him sane during the debriefing. She told him how nice Sir Winthrop had been to her and how he was right. She didn't know anything. Kevin opened the door and cleared his throat. Why is it that you can't go steam up your own front door? Why does it have to be mine? Earl smiled at his friend. It wasn't safe to kiss her there. Emma wants to get her things, and I want to apologize to your wife. May we come in? Lynn came to the door with a frown, but it quickly turned into a smile. Her friend's crisis was over. Lindora, I want to apologize if I was a little intense earlier, and to thank you for looking out for Emma. You are a good friend. You both are, Earl said. Yeah, thanks for putting up with me, Emma added. Girl, you know I'll always have your back. We go too far back for anything less. Lynn gushed. The couple returned home to finish making up. And true to his word, Earl visited his parents and life for the time being had returned to normal. A week later, Sam returned from her trip to Disney World with a deep tan. When Matt dropped her off, he held his eyes averted while he spoke with Emma. And when Earl joined them, slipping his arm around Emma, he left quickly. Sam talked nonstop about her vacation. Daddy Earl, I learned how to swim underwater. Grandpa let me take snorkeling lessons, and now I can go snorkeling when we go on vacation next year. Can we go to Disney World again? Didn't you get to see all of Disney World? He asked her. No, not all of it. Most of the time I was with Grandma and Grandpa. They get tired a lot and they had to babysit. Because of Chrissy, I didn't get to have as much fun. So when we go next year, I can finish seeing what I didn't get a chance to see, Sam explained. Didn't Angela and your dad take you anywhere? Emma asked, puzzled. Yeah, but in the afternoons they wanted to go somewhere I couldn't go. And they were gross too? How so? Earl and Emma asked in unison. Sam's features turned indignant. They were kissing all the time. It rained for 2 whole days, and we didn't get to go do anything. They just stayed in their room all day. Grandpa said that Daddy and Angela needed a vacation too. Emma smiled to herself and helped Sam carry her suitcase to her room. While Sam went to visit her brother, Emma unpacked. She made two piles, one of clothing that needed to be washed and the other to be incinerated. Didn't that child have four adults watching her? How could she stain so many clothing? At the bottom of the suitcase, Emma pulled out a really dirty shirt. A slimy salamander slithered out of it and onto her hand. Emma wasn't aware that she had screamed because Earl was in the room like a shot. "Emma, what's wrong?" he asked when he couldn't find any threat in the room. She couldn't speak, but she pointed. Earl looked and searched until he found the critter. Sam screeched when Earl held the squirming lizard up for them to see. He took pity on the thing and released it downstairs in the yard. When he returned, Emma was using a hanger to finish going through the suitcase. Earl took her hand and Sam's and led them downstairs. He made tea for Emma and gave Sam some fruit juice. "Do you think my dad will find one in his suitcase too?" Sam asked. "What about Grandma and Grandpa?" "Honey, call them to warn them about those things," Emma told Sam. Sam skipped away to make the calls. "Did Noah go back to sleep?" Emma asked. "Yes. Are you all right, love?" Earl asked. His heartbeat had only just returned to normal. That scream almost did him in. He was grateful that it wasn't anything serious, or that he didn't have to use the weapon he had hidden in the hallway. There were things Emma didn't need to know. Protecting his family was something he took seriously. It was only a gun, and she already knew he kept one in his closet. But he also knew that it was a matter of time before she said something about it. "I'm fine. I didn't mean to scream. I was surprised and it was on my hand." Emma replied and shook herself. She could still feel its slimy little body wriggling on her hand. "Daddy said that he would be careful, and Grandma, and said that she had shook everything before packing," Sam reported. "Good. Now why don't you go take a bath and get ready for bed? You may not feel tired now, but you will. I'll have some milk and cookies ready for you when you're done." Sam yawned hugely. "I don't want the milk and cookies, Mommy. I'm tired now. Can I take a shower instead?" "Sure. Do you need any help?" "Mother, I'm 9 now. I don't need your help." The exasperated expression on Sam's face was more than Emma could bear. She cleared her throat and nodded. "Good night then, Samantha," Emma said solemnly. "You guys can still come kiss me good night, though. I'll call you when I'm ready," Sam said and skipped away. Sophia Thorne had lain on the cot in her jail cell with nothing but her thoughts for company. She wasn't even allowed a cellmate. Her trial was in a week, and she knew that nothing was going to save her. She'd really messed up. It hadn't been for the money because she had plenty. She was just bored and lonely. Ever since Earl left her, she'd been out of her mind with it. The assignments were fine, and she had been taking on the more dangerous ones, just to feel alive. But without Earl, there'd been no satisfaction. She had tried to forget him, but it'd been no use. He truly was the love of her life. She thought she'd fall into a pit of despair when the Germans came calling. She did it for the thrill and for the hope that Earl would return. The plan was foolproof. She knew that Sir Winthrop missed Earl just as much as she did. That's why she worked it, so he'd call Earl back to duty. The old fool hadn't even noticed that he was being manipulated. Planting the bugs in his office and other places in the building was easy. She used them to help the old man's need for Earl. A suggestion here and there. Nothing outright. Just something to make him think of Earl. And when he did inform her that he was calling Earl back to duty to help her with the Prime Minister's security detail, she tried to play it off that she didn't like the idea. But she had been thrilled. Earl was coming back to help catch the double agent. She knew the old man wasn't calling Earl in for the security detail. She knew the old man suspected her. But then he sent his nephew to investigate her. How dare he? He died holding evidence that she was betraying her country. It was very easy to dump his body and then act surprised when it was found. It was then she applied pressure on the old man. Using tactics that would have made the Germans proud, she used the chemicals to clear the building when the Prime Minister convened the second time. Sir Winthrop had pulled her aside then and told her that he had sent for Earl. Her plan had worked. Everything was going according to plan until she realized that Earl couldn't be swayed to her way of thinking. She knew that he knew she was the double agent, but she also knew that despite their disastrous past, he still had a soft spot for her. Everything changed when she found the bug in her car. No one could have put it there but him. She confirmed it when she pulled his prints off of it. Maybe he meant for her to find it because it was very easy to find. That was when she had to erase him. It was all planned very carefully. And of course, he hadn't shown the slightest bit of interest in her. That had hurt more. Her broken heart demanded satisfaction. Her accomplice had missed the shot and got Earl in the shoulder. Things had gotten from bad to worse when the old man announced that he'd called Earl's wife and that she was flying in from America to help care for Earl. Sophia remembered seething inside while she volunteered to pick her up from the airport. Well, that settled it then. They both had to go, but she couldn't go to prison. She had sent too many people there, and she knew they'd remember her. She had committed a crime of the highest order, treason. Her family would be disgraced, and she couldn't have that. It was then Sophia realized that she had made up her mind to do something she would never have contemplated if the circumstances were different. Before lights out, she wrote the letters. One addressed to Sir Winthrop, another to her family, and finally one to Earl. Once the lights went out, she slipped off her cot and pulled the sheet off. Standing there on the three-legged stool, she pushed off. As breathing became more and more difficult, Sophia began to hallucinate. She was on a hiking trail with Earl. The sun was shining and the breeze was gentle. The view was perfect, and Earl was holding her hand. When they came to a steep part of the trail, he'd pulled her up and then kiss her. She liked that most of all. Then there was the picnic lunches he surprised her with. There was always something sweet for after because he indulged her sweet tooth. It was getting hard to see his face now, but she could feel his smile and his love flowing toward her. And just for a little moment, Sophia Thorne was feeling truly happy. Sir Winthrop was called immediately when Sophia's body was discovered. He dispatched the letters and followed Sophia's instructions concerning her remains. She wanted to be cremated, and her family was notified. When Earl came home that evening, he was withdrawn. Emma kept the children occupied and out of his way. After the house was quiet for the evening, she found him sitting in the living room, in the single chair in the dark. It was the same chair she'd sat in when she was having the nightmares. She'd sit in the chair with all the lights on. Earl sat in the dark. Earlier in the day, she had gotten a call from Sir Winthrop. She had directed the call to the precinct and thought nothing of it. Sir Winthrop hadn't indicated anything for her to worry about. But now it seemed that it had been. She could see that he was feeling deep sorrow, and she didn't want him to suffer it alone. Like he had done for her, she turned on the lamp and sat down beside him. At first he didn't acknowledge her, but when he did, his smile was sad. She knew why he was hurting. "When did she die?" she asked simply. Not surprised that his wife was so intuitive, he answered her. "She was found early this morning. It is hard to believe that she would do such a thing. She would have found it hard to pity anyone who did such a thing. She thought such people were weak," he replied. "Are you okay?" Emma asked gently. He reached out to clasp her hand and gave it a little squeeze. "I don't know why I feel so upset after she had been so dreadful to the both of us. You big softy, it's understandable that you should feel her loss so deeply. Whatever she may have done, you loved her once. I'm sorry." "How did you know?" Earl asked her. "Sir Winthrop called to speak with you. He sounded sad too. I knew then. Are you sure you're okay?" "I will be. I'm sorry for ignoring you all evening." "You get a free pass this time. Will there be a funeral service?" "Standard prisoner's fare. She shouldn't get anything special, but she left instructions to be cremated and the ashes sent to her family. She wrote me a letter. Sir Winthrop promised to forward it to me." "Do you need to go to England?" Emma asked. This trip she wouldn't have a problem with if he wanted to go. "No, love. No need for that. It's just sad is all." In her mind, she felt cornered, I suppose. "If you're feeling better, let's go to bed. Tomorrow you can watch your son sit up all by himself." "Well, that's it for now. I'm glad you stayed to the end. This concludes the saga of Agent Earl Solano. When we come back, our favorite detective will be back in action. I want to thank all of you who subscribed. Don't forget to share and like. Bye for now."